This is the ATI Podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the ATI Podcast. Everybody that's tuning in with us right now. Happy to see you all back. Josh is going to be getting on the Twitch feed here momentarily so we can get any questions that we might have this evening. Of course, this evening we've got Jason from Stormruler.
Hell yeah. I'm excited.
And we're really excited to have Jason on the show. And we're just going to kind of recap some of what took place last week. And looks like we're actually having a focusing issue on the camera here, so there we go.
There it goes.
Got it going. All right. So, of course, last week was our mega episode, our mega-sode, if you will, with Joey Rackavan. We got into a lot of interesting and fascinating discussion topics. You know, we talked about some good music, bands like Entomb, the Disintegration Loops by William Basinski, the Caretaker stuff. We talked about Sigur Rós, Bon Iver, Botch, Mare, Dead Guy, Poison the Well, some of the bands that influenced the bands that, you know, Joey and I were in back in the day, as well as common co-host Ridge. We talked about a lot of good movies and directors. We talked about, of course, The Exorcist. You know, some of these you'll know. We talked about Evil Dead. We talked about Dark Song. We talked about directors like Ari Aster, Robert Eggers, Jordan Peele, Jennifer Kent, Guillermo del Toro, what he has going on. We also talked about The Night Books, which is out, and Joey was talking about kind of the influence that's kind of he heard about it on the King cast, the Stephen King cast specifically. So, Night Books that's out on Netflix that he highly recommended. Things like, you know, again, kind of getting down nostalgia lane, but talked about movies like Fright Night, Monster Squad, Lost Boys, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But and then Joey had a lot of recommendations for kind of obscure eateries and things of that ilk. So that was pretty fascinating dive when we talked about the Foundry and some of the, you know, vendors there. There's Afro-Caribbean, there's Indian food, but they do it like burrito style. And he even talked about a Vietnamese fusion place up in St. Louis called Goody Cafe. And he highly recommended the pho, which is what he tried there as well. So yeah, just I mean, and then we got into some medieval literature as well. So it seems like quite the array of discussion topics, but Joey, as I've talked about in the episodes leading up to it, one of my most well-read and intelligent friends, and I knew the conversation was going to take some unexpected and interesting turns at times. So, and then of course we did the old thing that we always do and kind of nostalgia trip, talked about shows back in the day and the fun that we used to have and the shenanigans that we used to get into. Yep, absolutely.
Hell yeah, miss some days.
And you know, beating up and beating down the road paths, if you will. So we're going to talk a little current events until we've got Jason on the show today. Jason of Stormruler and Bastard. Jason Asberry, we've had on the show previously. He was on episode 9 at that time, and we were talking to him and promoting them going out on their spring tour, the Devastation of the Nation tour at that time, and he was with bands of the ilk of like Abigail Williams and so on.
Yeah. They played some pretty awesome venues and stuff, too.
Yeah, so that's kind of one of the main things we're going to be talking about, Jason, at least to start the conversation off with today about is we're going to do a tour recap. He's going to give us some tour stories. We're going to talk about things that he enjoyed most during the tour. We're going to talk about lessons learned, so on and so forth. So going to be a cool little recap to start.
Yeah.
But then we're going to get into, they've got the new album coming out, Stormruler does. So
this shit is so good.
Yeah, and we're really looking forward to that. And, of course, it's going to be on Napalm Death Records is what they're on. So, and they're really churning out and showing off everything that they've got going on. So, but we'll get into more of that here in a moment. But I wanted to talk, because this guy is always on the tip of our tongue, about all the lovely stuff that's going on in New York with Trump.
Yeah, so like I've kind of been hit and miss with like my information with this. So it's not a criminal case, right? They're suing them. It's a civil case.
She's recommending criminal charges.
Right, because of the evidence that they're bringing forth to the prosecuting attorney.
Exactly right.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah, so essentially the short of it is that they are accusing the Trump business. The allegations are that essentially Trump, his kids, his businesses that are all operating in New York area,
right,
are participating in things like insurance fraud and tax fraud.
I mean,
because they're devaluing their properties, so they don't have to pay as much taxes or insurances or premiums on those properties.
Right.
And I mean, they went through a laundry list of the AG, that is New York AG, went through a laundry list of stuff. And so they are suing him essentially for overall business fraud in a civil sense.
And I'm glad. Like, but my thing is like, Trump's been doing this for years, people. He was doing it before he was president.
Right.
The Polish worker scandal. Let's talk about Trump University. Let's talk about all these different scandals that he's been involved with, and no one's ever went after him. You know, and I'm glad somebody finally is. You know, but
sure.
That's why you hear everybody on the right say it's a political stunt because now we're holding them accountable, and that's why we should be holding people accountable all the time, so we don't get into situations like this.
And you're going to have your naysayers, naysayers in the sense that, well, honestly, like there's limited optimism right now because you have to think about everything that is, as Josh was talking about, has went on with Trump and how little he's been held accountable to date.
Right.
But the state of the world has changed. The magnifying glass has never been bigger. On world affairs, people, what they do from day to day.
Sharing information instantly.
And, I mean, the technology and people's ability to get invasive in your personal affairs. And the fact that he was president now, which puts an even bigger spotlight on him, you know, as a former president. And then let's not, you know, we can talk about the Mar-a-Lago stuff again. And you know, which actually a funny thing happened is he was on Hannity, Trump was. Yeah. And they asked him about the declassifying of the documents, and he just said, if you think it, essentially, that they're declassified.
Yeah, he said that if I wanted to, I could basically think that a document was declassified and it would be declassified.
The act of him sending them to himself in Mar-a-Lago declassified them.
He's out of his... He's a narcissistic sociopath.
The case.
100%.
Absolutely.
That's just all there is to it. Whether you support him or not, the dude is a very narcissistic sociopath.
And speaking of Trump and Trump surrogates, we can talk, you know, about DeSantis as well. The big stunt that he pulled, sending 50 people or so, I think it was, on a plane to Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts.
Right.
So the intent and thought there is essentially is they were sending quote unquote illegals, to use their terminology, immigrants. Right. To what is sanctioned cities and sanctioned areas. So basically Governor Abbott and Governor DeSantis are working together because they're both kind of primary Republican governors in the United States. They're in the news constantly. Right. They are working together in this sense that and the other phenomenon here too, I shouldn't pass up, is the fact that Texas is bordering Mexico. So there's a lot of border activity that goes on. You know, there's a stronghold of border patrol there from the U.S. side. There's a lot of people that cross that border even daily. And, you know, so this is where you're going to get your highest concentration of somebody walking across national lines.
I mean, that's...
And the most common instances.
Right. That's a general assumption because it's a border state. Right.
Now, Florida has its own, you know, plethora of this activity. Because in Florida, of course, you get a lot of, you know, Caribbean, you know, Cuban, Virgin Islands, that type of stuff, activity there. And the folks that actually end up there in Florida specifically, they don't matriculate in as high of volumes and as frequently because of ease of access. You know, they have to travel. A lot of, you know, people that come into Florida are refugees. Yeah. And
they come in by boat or
very
raft.
Sketchy means,
right,
you know, boats, rafts, you know, makeshift devices, if you will. Right. And travel hundreds of miles overseas, and a lot of them don't even make it. Yeah. So you know, it's a lot different. You know, travel and logistics in that sense. So DeSantis's thought here is, and he's owned up to having done it, is that, that they don't matriculate into a state in the hordes that they do in Texas, and then that's really where they want to do it. And this is all publicity stunt. They're trying to get
political thing.
People to talk about stuff because inflation is declining. Gas right now in particular is declining. I know here locally it's under $3 a gallon now, finally, $2.99 down the street from me.
Yep.
So, now that gas isn't $5 and $6 and $10 like they said it was going to be, they being mostly the Republicans fear-mongering everybody, now they have to find something else to talk about.
Right.
And, there's measures being taken to help slow inflation overall as well, increasing Federal Reserve rates and so on and so forth. How effective in the long run is that going to be? Time will tell. However, again, this is a ploy by Republicans to start talking about something else, get your attention on something else. And when all else fails, we're going to get racist and we're going to talk about brown people. That's the Republican agenda.
Yep.
And so, essentially, to get back on our story, the stunt that they pulled, they lured people in under false pretenses.
Right. Didn't they promise them to pay $50 for every person they brought?
That with also allusions were made to the possibility of meeting the president or presidents or former presidents as well, because, like Obama and Clinton in particular frequented Martha's Vineyard as vacation spots.
Right.
So there was a lot of, shammery, I guess, or, going on here, thinly veiled, promises that couldn't be delivered upon. So nonetheless, they ended up taking folks out there to Martha's Vineyard, and things weren't as they said they would be. And some of those folks too, mind you, where DeSantis is actually really going to get himself into some additional trouble, is that some of these folks were asylum seekers. Actually, a good portion of them were asylum seekers. So kind of the protocol is asylum seekers, and these in particular from Venezuela. So these are people that were trying to escape Venezuela, corrupt government, and everything that's going on there. If you've paid attention to the news, they had filed for asylum in the United States. So basically, as your asylum proceedings are going on, you are welcome to. And it's typically that you would stay close to the place at which you filed for asylum as well, because you're going to eventually have a hearing. Right. Well, they're so backlogged with these requests that it takes forever. So it's not uncommon for people to wander out of the premises of where they're going to have their hearing, that sort of thing. But they actually transported people out of state. Right. As well. So these people are nowhere near to be able to actually have these asylum hearings that they would have. And so there's a possibility of them missing that. Now, there were people in Martha's Vineyard prepared for these immigrants coming over and to house them and so on and so forth. An interesting fact that I found out was that, and in Florida in particular, and I'm going to get back on DeSantis here in a second, they use a lot of migrant workers. So don't let them fool you with that also. Right. How much of the workforce? DeSantis moved him out of Texas and not out of Florida. Right. Because if you've ever been to Florida, which I have several times, ever went to vacation on Florida, ever had business dealings in Florida, more particular, especially if you're in the hospitality or travel industry, a lot of that is built off of migrant work that is being paid pennies on the dollar for their labor. So Florida in itself is a whole racket for that, those type of labor practices. So these folks in Texas, as far as to get the publicity of what they did and the, I guess, national recognition that they want, DeSantis targeted Texas with the partnership of Abbott and exported these folks out. The thing about Florida as well is, that because it is built on the back of migrant workers such as this, an interesting fact that I came across in hearing about all this stuff as well, according to the National Chambers of Commerce, for every 3 unemployed people in the United States right now, there are 5 job openings. So that means that we literally do not have the people in the United States to meet the work demand. Right. So this is why we have migrant workers in the United States. This is why this practice, it goes on very routinely and is actually beneficial to us. Right. There's a city that we all know and love, and we talk about it all the time here, St. Louis. St. Louis has taken in a bunch of Afghan refugees. They've actually worked with Jason Kander, who we talked about in the past. Right. He has a veteran affairs program and also works with the people of the Afghani people in particular to seek asylum, and St. Louis has designated itself as an asylum city, and they've even requested more immigrants to come in to St. Louis specifically because they as a city, and this is a nonpartisan issue. Right. Yeah. the Republicans and Democrats alike. So you're talking business owners from all walks of life. All these folks know that they don't have enough people in the workforce, and it's the reason is that it's actually St. Louis has become underpopulated. People are moving out of St. Louis to other places.
Right.
St. Louis is not as populated as it used to be, and there's still all the same jobs, still the same old commerce that they have. They still have the same functions, restaurants, nightlife, hotels. The sports teams bring in a lot of business, nightlife, concert venues, so on and so forth. St. Louis is still a place that there is work to be had.
Yeah.
So that is why they're bringing in Afghan refugees in particular. So it's something that we need to understand as a nation, regardless of where your political feelings are, that refugees and immigrants are necessary to keep the cogs in the machine moving, especially if you're very capitalistic in your mindset, your approach, and your political beliefs. So you want to make sure that you have immigrants, regardless if you're a Republican or Democrat, coming in this country to help aid in the workforce.
Right. I think the icing on the cake of this whole story is how they were received at Martha's Vineyard, though.
Go on.
So the community, I guess, pulled together, showed up, found housing for these people, fed people, clothed people, took them into their own houses, I was reading on some occasions. So even though this was a political stunt that kind of stranded these people there, the community pulled together and took care of these people because they understand the situation. You know what I mean? So I thought that was the best part of this whole thing. It was kind of a slap in the face of DeSantis and Abbott. Like, we'll take care of people. If you don't want to take care of these people, we'll take care of these people.
Absolutely.
So, you know what? Fuck those guys. They're assholes.
It was racist. A display of America at its finest as well. And I will say that this was a stunt that took place, too, in the sense that they were trying to entrap Democrats, progressives.
Right.
And, some people ended up being taken out of the Martha Vineyard area or whatever the case is. They have, my understanding is come together to file suit actually against DeSantis. I'm sure somebody else is going to take the blame for all of this. There is a woman named, I can't recall her name at this time, but there's a woman named as far as the spokesperson that made all these promises to lure them onto the plane. But again, we're talking fraudulent activities taking place here, so charges thereof perhaps. But there's a class action suit being filed on behalf of all of the migrants or immigrants, if you will.
Rightfully so.
Asylum seekers.
I don't blame them.
Yeah, and rightfully so, absolutely. So, that's just kind of another interesting thing that's going on here. We've actually got a few other things that have taken place as well, kind of in the news, that we wanted to hit on real quickly. The first thing that I actually wanted to bring up, and before we get to that, Josh, do we got anybody in the chat that's got any comments so far?
It was just, Brandon and Rich stopped by. Brandon said, glad you're feeling better, Joshy, and I am so glad too, boys. Me and Barrett were just actually talking about that before we got on. Like I was telling him, I don't know if it was all the grease from the food that I ate or if I caught something, but I was down for like 4 or 5 days, man. Like, it was bad, but I'm feeling much better. Rich said, roast that hog's leg. We absolutely did roast that hog's leg. And
R.I.P. hog leg.
Zach said I'm Batman.
All right. That he is.
That you are.
So there's a couple of interesting news stories out there, kind of current events too, that we want to talk about. One cool thing is the first female F-35 pilot has actually taken flight, which seems wild.
Right.
It's 2022. This hasn't already happened.
It's the first.
And, they reported this on Heartland News, so we've got an article on that. If you want to pull that up.
Yeah, let me pull the article up.
Yeah. So I wanted to make sure we get the girl her credit and everything else. And while Josh is pulling that up, I'm going to talk about a couple other things. So we've teased on our social media, more particularly Twitter, and then I took a screenshot of it, shared it elsewhere, shared it on our Facebook group as well, that we had 2 exciting pieces of news coming out this week for the ATI Podcast, our hosts, things that we're doing to help perpetuate the show or our individual talents or whatever the case is. So one of the things that we're going to address today is that actually I wrote a review of the new Kin Mode album, Knoll, and that is actually going to be published by a Canadian multimedia site, v13.net, that's kind of like an amalgamation of Collider and Pitchfork.
Yeah. And
they do all kinds of multimedia. So they have a gaming aspect where they do gaming reviews and gaming news. They have TV, movies. They have music of all walks, whether it's, popular rap or pop, but then more obscure stuff and kind of metal and hardcore and that sort of stuff. So an opportunity that I was happy to get through our mutual connections with the guys at the Barn and Vulgar Display of Podcasts. Shout out to Chad, of course, who made this happen for me. But we're looking at that actually getting published tomorrow, and the album is released tomorrow. So we'll be sharing that on our social media. Depending on whether or not we have time left here today, I'm going to read that review prior to Jason getting on. Josh, you got that article ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, so we're going to jump to the F-35 pilot.
All right, yeah, so like I said, or like Barrett said, this came from Heartland News or KFVS 12 from their website, and it was wrote by a guy named Jordan Gartner. But anyway, it states, female pilot from Kentucky made history earlier this month by becoming the first female F-35 fighter jet pilot for the Air National Guard. According to the Air National Guard, 30-year-old First Lieutenant Kelsey Flannery marked her flight as the Vermont Air National Guard as a Vermont Air National Guard member on September 7th. She was quoted in saying, "I really wanted to be on the leading edge," Flannery said. "It's exciting to get up there, go fast, and be able to employ weapons, so that was one of the more appealing parts of it." Officials say Flannery has been training for 3 years to be the pilot of the F-35A Lightning II. So good for her, man. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
And like Barrett alluded to, it's kind of a bummer that it's just finally happened in 2022. I mean, it shouldn't. It's ridiculous. There's no reason why a female shouldn't be allowed to be a fighter pilot if she can pass all the same rigorous tests and rigmarole that men can. Then there's no reason why she shouldn't be able to be allowed to be.
And I'm sure a lot of that has to do with the fact of what female enlistment is like in the military.
Right.
First and foremost, so that's to be.
But I'm sure there's still a big sexism in certain positions.
I have no doubt about it. Because it's one of the most archaic
combat positions, mostly.
Right.
It's kind of a gray area. So
we've got another interesting news article. We got to talk about our folks in QAnon again. So the QAnon people have a new theory out there, guys, and it's validated by, of all things, The Simpsons, perhaps the greatest television show of all time.
Listen, I'm not a QAnon nut, and I don't know what they're talking about with this, but The Simpsons is fucking scary when it comes to predicting stuff, man. Like, I'm not trying to give QAnon any credit or say that I'm with them and I support this theory, because I don't. But these dudes, I'm telling you, the creator of The Simpsons and Futurama is Matt Groening, and he is a time traveler, I'm convinced. So
I'm going to read this article from Vice on this. If you guys haven't caught this, it's very interesting. So this is by David Gilbert from Vice. A conspiracy that something big is about to happen on Saturday, September 24th, so that's this Saturday, has taken hold among QAnon supporters around the world, in part thanks to an episode of The Simpsons. The conspiracy first emerged in German QAnon channels on Telegram earlier this morning. The followers began spreading a video that showed German lawmaker Merz speaking to the Bundestag about the Russian invasion of the Ukraine in February. In this speech, Merz misspeaks and says that everyone will remember where they were on September 24th rather than February 24th, the day Russia invaded. Merz corrected himself in the official record of Bundestag, but QAnon followers in Germany believe that they've spotted Merz revealing the detail of a secret plan. Without any extra information, however, QAnon followers were at the loss about what exactly was going to happen, on the date in question. Soon, some interpreted researchers came up with a theory based on a single episode of The Simpsons. One member of the German Telegram channel pointed out that in episode 9 of season 24, 9/24, get it? September 24th, get it?
We need to watch this episode tonight, by the way.
The animated sitcom, the plot revolves around a group of preppers. In particular, the characters discuss WROL, or without rule of law, which is a doomsday prepper lingo for the complete breakdown of society after major catastrophe. The episode also features an electromagnetic pulse device, which QAnon followers believe will usher in 10 days of darkness and ultimately return former President Trump to the Oval Office.
Because it got dark outside.
Yeah. So I'm going to stop the article there. It does go on a little bit longer, but of course, if you guys want to read that, go to Vice News. But I want to make people aware of this article and the fact that QAnon is back at it. Now, I will say, of course, if anybody saw in the last 48 hours that Russia has drafted 300,000 troops, and now Putin is not even making thinly veiled threats of nuclear war. He's basically saying that they're going to go to nuclear war.
Right, like pretty much what he said is if it gets to a point to where we're scared about our borders, we will do anything.
Which one has to assume that they're going to stage an event, or they are a country that is not beyond, making things up.
But a positive about this, which I know there's not a lot of positive about things that Putin says and does, but the reaction of the Russian people was a good thing. Their reaction, a lot of people were pissed. There was mass protests, there was mass arrests, there was mass exodus. There was border crossings out of Russia that were just jam-packed full of Russian citizens trying to avoid the enlistment.
I saw a 3D imaging of a map of all the flights that were exiting Russia and Ukraine also, but just a sea of flights that were exiting.
And, and look at their economy, it's in shambles. Look at the ruble, it's in shambles. People can't buy the goods that they need. They can't survive. People are like they're becoming upset and impatient with Putin and the regimes, and that's exactly what we need. I mean, it's unfortunate for the good Russian people that are against this, because there's Russian. I've seen videos and Russians say this is terrible. We shouldn't be doing this. Everybody in Russia is not a Putin extremist.
And it's important to frame this too, that these actions were taken post retreat as well by Russia.
Right. Well, so they got their asses kicked. Now they got their tail between their legs.
Things are not going as well as Putin, of course, hoped and planned and wished, dreamed, and desired. So he's taking more drastic measures. Baby's taking his ball and going home, sort of thing.
Right.
So that's nothing new there. Jason will be joining us shortly. He's going to be on here right at 7. We're about 4 minutes out from him joining us. So we talked about the things that we have in the works for the show. Again, 2 special things dropping this week. I talked about the Kid Mode review. I'm not quite sure we're going to have time to read that. We'll see here shortly. But Josh, actually, the other half of the coin here, he had an awesome thing happen that's going to tie and lead into Jason's interview very nicely. He was able to he was commissioned to do, I should say, the Stormruler lyric video for internal fulmination of the Grand Deceivers.
Absolutely.
So that is up on the Napalm Records YouTube channel.
Right.
They've got over 2 million subscribers. When we checked this morning and woke up, it already had like 10,000 plays.
Yeah.
Like well over 700 likes. I haven't checked it since, but I'm sure it's only went up. Yeah. Because it's only been up for about 36 hours or so. So
yeah, it was a huge opportunity. I was super grateful for those guys to allow me to even attempt it. So I'm super grateful, super appreciate it.
Great work, of course.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
It has been shared across all of our media channels, whether it's ATI Podcast, social media channels, or our personals. If you're friends with us on our personal pages and stuff. We have spammed the shit out of everybody here the last 24 hours with that. But if you'd like to check it out, it's on our group pages. It's also, obviously, on Stormruler's page as well as Napalm Death's page. And then again, to see it, just go to the YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe.
Yeah.
Napalm Death Records has other artists that are awesome as well.
Oh, yeah. Several really good
bands. Our boys are Stormruler, and that's where we hang our hats. So
yeah.
So we're really looking forward to having Jason join us here shortly. And Josh, perhaps maybe you're going to have some other work in the future?
We've actually, me and Jason have kind of talked, and he said there might be some future projects that I can get involved with Stormruler, so I'm super excited about that. Those boys are kind of leading the way as far as black metal right now, man. They're kind of keeping that whole thing alive, and just the overflowing amount of comments of just telling them how awesome they've done on this album and how great a musicians is incredible. I mean, absolutely. Them guys they're really, really, really great musicians. So just to be able to be a part of that in any way is freaking awesome. So hopefully more to come, but nothing official yet. But you never know. So
so Jason's having a little bit of technical difficulties. Excuse me here. Give me just a moment. I'm going to send him a quick link to join up with us. While I'm doing that, Josh, if you want to take a look, see if we've got any other questions or comments that we need to follow up on the Twitch. I did send out a Twitch event invite for today's meeting. We had a lot of activity and responses on that. We're hoping that some people join up with us. If they're not in right now, they can get to us whenever they get a chance. But we are really looking forward to having everybody on.
Yeah, for sure.
I've got Jason the link sent now, so let's see what happens here.
Yeah, he should be popping in here.
So while we're waiting for Jason, I might go ahead and give a shot at reading this review.
Yeah.
Real quick. I might be able to pinch that in. But so this is a review of Kinmode's album Knoll. It comes out tomorrow. And I started off with, it's hard to fathom that Canadian noise rock group Kinmode has 20 plus years of its skin in the game. Kinmode has always been a band constantly and subtly tweaking and evolving their sound with each of their albums. Standing on the shoulders of each of their previous releases, over 2 decades of grinding, Kinmode have become giants in their field. In a musical world full of varying levels of magicians and genres that have become littered in recent years with imposters, it is rare to come across a band that is a celestial level warlock. This is Kinmode in spades. Kinmode's alchemy couldn't be more on display with their latest effort, Knoll, out September 23rd, 2022 on Art of Act Records. Many of the tricks you've come to love and enjoy from Kinmode are employed that makes them who they are. Waves of punishing riffs, distortion being pushed to its absolute brink, and always thunderous drums all become staples in the sound that is uniquely Kinmode. Shane Matthewson's ability to attack the beat far exceed your traditional expectations of any hardcore percussionist. Shane's wizardry seamlessly turning to the backbeat throughout many of the tracks creates big mood shifts and adds larger-than-life moments on Knoll. Scott Hamilton continues his run as one of the most solid and underrated, for that matter, bassists in the game. Scott Hamilton is constantly tying everything together rhythmically in Kinmode while employing his distinct, overdriven, and massive bass tone. Scott and Shane are in lockstep with their rhythmic acrobats once again. Jesse Matthewson continues his run as one of the absolute best frontmen the genre has to offer, pulling duties of both guitar and vocals. Jesse's angst, married with appropriate amounts of despair and hate, are set in full effect at the most congruous moments in Knoll, accentuating his absolutely disgusting chord structures and gnarly riffs. Jesse's lyrics speak to all of those who have been disenfranchised and disappointed across all walks of life. A love letter is an anthem from anyone riddled with disgust of their own interpersonal relations and those who struggle with self-hate. Kinmode pushes themselves into new regions artistically as well. Jesse Matthewson has pressed his talents into all new territories, implementing implementing a variety of vocal stylings throughout the album. While the aggressive vocal dashing we've come to know are still present, Jesse opens and closes unresponsive, with vocal approaches reminiscent of 80s hardcore. In But Respect My Tactics, you can hear distressed vocal stylings reminiscent of Daughters. On Not My Fault and Law Script, listen for moments of more traditional singing. Respect. Worth highlighting, Knoll's opening track and first single from Canadian rockers, Love Letter, picks up where Love left off, with Catherine Kerr's multi-instrumentalist talents on full display, re-employing Kerr's saxophone chops, adding layers to Kinmode's signature, jagged sound, sends their listeners' equilibrium into question. Kerr achieves this once again on The Desperate Search of an Enemy, as the track builds in tension in its closing moments. Kinmode's influences and inspirations have never been on more display, paying homage to some legendary acts that preceded them in the most tasteful ways. Upon the first listen of Throw Your Phone in the River and The Desperate Search of an Enemy, it's hard not to immediately think of hardcore pioneers Botch. Unresponsive can be cut and pasted onto a Melvin set list, and no one would bat an eye. The Tie passes as a track from The Downward Spiral. Elements of Jesus Lizard, Unsane, ISIS, the band of course, and Converge even manifest themselves throughout Knoll. If variety is the spice of life, Kinmode's Knoll is serving up an absolute punishing flight of hot ones that even Sean Evans would enjoy. This may be Kinmode's most ambitious release to date. Fans, enjoy the magic show. Kinmode's Knoll releases September 23rd of 2022. So that was my review of Kinmode's new album.
Hell yeah, dude. Well
Hope
done.
you guys check it out. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
And now we have Jason ready in the lobby. So we're going to welcome Jason in and give me a moment to let him know he's live.
We're just going hot.
Mr. Jason Son, how are you, sir?
I'm wonderful after all these issues.
That's all right, man. Hey, we're live already, so just so you know that. So you might want to keep your dick.
I was actually
I know it's big and it's
just
hard to
listening
contain.
a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
I want to say real quick.
Go for it.
The fighter pilot, the F-35 is a newer jet and it has been around long. So women have been flying since the 80s.
Yeah.
Right. She was the first F-35
Which is a newer
pilot.
jet. There's not a whole lot of those in service, actually. Most people are wanting to fly like the F-22s and the 16s and those Raptors and shit.
Yeah. Raptors, yeah, that's what I was going to say. So that's cool, though. I mean, that's...
the
it's
F-35
awesome.
It's a fucking crazy machine, man.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's awesome, man.
Speaking of which, I know that you do some like contracting work and stuff on the side. Were you in the area when the Sonic Boom took place?
Yeah, I was actually
a few weeks ago.
Town.
Fuck, dude, did you hear that?
Yeah, I didn't.
I
know
thought
what it
somebody
was
shot
for
a
while,
shotgun,
and,
dude.
Like 2 or 3 days passed, and I saw it was a jet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ripping
dude.
through
It was,
sonic barriers and shit.
yeah, like I've heard tons of Sonic Booms, but man, I don't know, that was different.
man, it was
It was
wild.
really different.
I
Yeah.
agree, yeah.
And we thought it like a hurricane, or not, excuse me, not a hurricane, but an earthquake took place here.
Yeah.
Like we were just tripping.
Well, my girlfriend,
Yeah.
she was
Freaking
down
out.
there in Fredericktown with us. I thought she like knocked something over in the house, or like something blew up or something. We're also next to a quarry, so I thought they may like been blowing shit up.
Blasting, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's cool, man. Hey, so we kind of led things off until like, well, I was killing some time reading the review that I did for Kin Mode until you could get on.
Yeah.
But we were talking about how Josh had the opportunity to do the lyric video for you guys,
Which
to kind of help
thanks
set
a
up
bunch,
you coming
dude.
on.
Saved our ass.
Yeah,
Big time
no.
with that.
Thank you, man.
Honestly, it's a Stormruler way of just like getting by the skin of our teeth. Like everything
Yeah.
is last minute.
Yeah.
Like on the first record, when we were trying to like, we were getting ready to, you know, put out the album and everything, and like get our web store ready. We like the album went live at 9 a.m. and we didn't have our web store ready until like 8:50, like 10 minutes before it went live.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
That's
dude.
my entire life, so I feel
Yeah,
there.
for real.
Yeah. I try not to procrastinate, but I also find myself commonly and routinely in procrastinating type situations.
Yeah, for
so,
It's all the
yeah,
time for me.
that's how it
Even
goes,
the last
man.
tour, that Devastation tour, we were having guitar player issues, and we didn't get a guy until like 3 weeks before we left.
Yeah, so I remember us talking about the fact that, you know, last time you were on was, you know, largely in promotion of you about to go on that
Right.
tour. And I know that you guys had like a lot of issues with hired hands, if you will, and what have you. Is there any other like kind of like wild stories from the tour that you can recap with us
Yeah, we'll
that
start at the
are
beginning.
noteworthy?
The drive there.
Okay.
we made it to like somewhere in Nevada, and then we were driving to Berkeley, which is basically San Francisco. But coming out of Nevada, we went through Reno, and when you get past Reno, you get into like the California mountains and shit. And we were sitting in traffic for like an hour, and we thought somebody wrecked or whatever. And then finally we get through it, and we're at the whatever, and snow starts coming down. We realize that there's no wreck or anything. So we're driving another 30, 40 minutes. Next thing you know, there's a foot of snow on the ground. Turns out everybody was putting on tire
Jesus.
chains and shit. Which about
Damn.
45 minutes after that, we get pulled over by like chain inspection, telling us we can't be up on this mountain without tire chains. So immediately we spent like $150. We're laying down knee, chest deep in snow, putting on tire chains. And then an hour and a half
Jeez.
later, we're on the beach.
That's crazy that they have like requirements for. I mean, I get it. I
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
I know
It
why. I
legitimately,
get
like,
why.
30
But
minutes
it's
later,
crazy.
those fucking chains saved our life. Because you're sliding
Right.
everywhere.
I can
You're in
imagine.
the mountains. It's crazy.
That is
Speaking of the van, I know you guys like had the van break down on you at least once, if not twice, right?
Twice mechanically, once because we had a tire blowout.
Oh,
And
We had so
and
many
you didn't
fucking
have a spare?
problems.
Did you guys have a spare?
Yes.
Okay, well, you're
Thankfully,
fortunate.
and it
with
wasn't a
that.
donut. We had like a legit spare, which if we had a donut,
Yeah.
we wouldn't have made the show that night because we hauled ass. That was the Detroit show. We broke down like 3 hours outside of Detroit. All AAA. And then they're like, yeah, we got somebody on the way. They'll be there in about an hour. So an hour passes and no one shows up. We call them like, hey, where's this dude at? You know, we got things to do. And and they're like, well, we don't have anybody on record to come out there right now. We can send somebody your way. So obviously we said yes. Another hour passes. We get our tire changed out.
Jeez.
And we're 3 hours from Detroit. So we haul ass all the way there, busting like 100 easy. Rolling with like 15 minutes to spare before we play. We throw all our shit up on stage. I don't even set up merch. I just chuck boxes over by a table. We fucking rip the set and end up crushing. It was a sick show, actually.
Was that at the Sanctuary?
Yeah, that was Sanctuary shit.
How'd you like that venue?
It wasn't too bad. It was cramped and hot as hell.
Yeah.
But it was sick.
Well, it's like a
muggy.
Yeah, it's a unique venue for sure. I don't know if you had a chance to talk to or interface at all with Maxwell there at the Sanctuary. He's a guy that we used to run around with in the scene back in the day. He was in a band called Cinder Receiver.
The name rings a bell, and it may have been who we were actually dealing with, but I don't think I actually met them.
Yeah, Maxwell's a solid fucking dude and a great musician. He can play and do anything. But he ended up starting that venue up there, and he actually has like pro wrestling events there too.
I saw that.
And shit. Yeah. So yeah, he's a cool guy. Did you run into issues with like, I know you, whenever we talked to you last about like crossing the border, making sure you had the musicians to, fill out a show, that sort of stuff. Did you run any issues
Getting
there?
into BC, there was no issue at all, really. That was pretty easy. But then we came out of BC and went back to Washington and, had another leg of the tour. And then out of Detroit, we went up and started like the 3 dates in Canada, going into Ontario, going up to Toronto was the first day. We got held up at the border for like 5 hours, which sucked. We almost missed that show that night. It was us, Borknagar, and Rotting Christ all got stopped at the border. We ended up getting let go after about 5 hours, somehow still made the show. But Borknagar and Rotting Christ got held up for 14 hours. We all got there at the same time at 10 a.m. in the morning, 10 in the morning. And they didn't end up getting out there till like midnight, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. They ended up having to cancel that their show. The show still went on, but no Borknagar Rotting Christ. But they like made the tickets cheaper and whatever else.
Like, what happens whenever you're held up there at the border? Like, they just got you sitting there in limbo in your vehicle, or like what happens?
Like they pulled us over. We went into customs or whatever, immigration, whatever it is. Yeah. They're doing whatever. I don't know. What you're doing is you're waiting in a lobby for a really long time.
Yeah,
and then
it's like a hospital lobby for an ER.
That you're good to go, and then you leave. There's like, what was the issue?
No questions, no follow up. Yeah, right. Jesus.
Yeah.
Sounds like whenever I try to bail one of my friends out of jail.
Just sitting there waiting.
So what are some of the highlights from the tour? What are some good things that stuck out to you?
I mean, the whole tour,
stuff you won't
minus
forget.
The van issues, was an incredible success.
Oh yeah.
Good.
Being able to play, I mean, that tour was an honor. Being able to play with Borknagar was a highlight in itself. Being able to like call those dudes.
Didn't you get to come up and like do a song with them or something? I want to say
last show
on one of
the
the dates?
tour in L.A. We got up, me and Jesse, my drummer, we got up on stage and did a couple vocal parts in Colossus, which is like one of their biggest songs. It was fucking sick.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, that's an incredible opportunity for sure.
I will say on that new lyric video, like a lot of people said, "Yeah, I seen you guys on Devastation, on the tour, and you guys were killer." So that's cool, man. You guys got a lot of exposure from that.
It was a big boost.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And that being said, you're about to go on a European tour, right?
Yeah,
so with Cannibal Corpse. Yeah.
Nice.
So with the legendary Cannibal Corpse, and that's going to open you up to all new opportunities,
legendary
and people
Dark Funeral
and that
too,
sort of thing.
We are really fucking stoked about. Dark Funeral is a big one for us.
Not to overlook them for sure. Yeah.
We're actually, I think we don't want to throw this out there and jinx ourselves. I'm pretty sure we're on the bus for that tour with Dark Funeral. So we'll be able to actually, go experience some shit, which is going to be cool, instead of having to drive.
Right.
Worrying about a band and stuff, right.
That's fucking cool, man.
15 countries, 44 days, and we start in the Netherlands, so, like, driving through the Swiss Alps and getting to see some castles and shit. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think, like, over the 44 days, like, you're playing, like, 38 or 39 of them or something.
Yeah, I think there's only 4 days off on the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be tight for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be an experience.
So, of course, this is to promote your new album that you have coming out, Sacred Rites and Black Magick, right? And you guys are getting ready to do the CD release show, too, of course, for that album here in October.
Yeah, up here in St. Louis, playing with the Lion's Daughter, Fister, and the Gorge, so it's a stacked lineup.
Yeah, those are all fantastic St. Louis bands, and I think we've talked about just about all of them in great detail on this show before.
Yeah,
right.
Maybe not the Gorge as much, but Gorge has been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, those
as well.
dudes are
well over
probably
10
gonna
years.
be the best musicians at the show. no
Yeah,
doubt.
they're knocked out for sure. Yeah, and at the new Ready Room, of course, too. Ready Room
nice.
too, right?
We're hoping so. I don't want to say anything, but there's some license issues, so I don't know 100% if we're gonna have it there. Right now, it's still gonna be there, but there might be a change in that.
Right on.
Right on. So I guess they're not kind of up and running entirely yet. I guess is what the issue is.
Well, I don't know exactly. I know they've had a show or two there, I think, but I might be wrong about that. I really don't know.
I got you.
Yeah.
You can ask Rick.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the Riverfront Times article about it, coming open, but I hadn't heard or seen much about it since as far as actual shows. Okay. Well, it also could be an issue of actually having live music up to a certain time, and that sort of thing. Because I recall that being an issue because it used to be the Atomic Cowboy, and there's a lot of residential that's tucked up right next to that. And I want to say that they had some problems with noise complaints and stuff like that in the past, but I'm talking about something like probably almost 10 years ago now.
But I mean, there's also other venues on the Grove having live music. I mean, Platypus has metal shows all the time. It might not be outside, but
Right, of course. Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about the album. Let's get in the weeds a little bit about the album if you want to. And so you got an official release date for the album. Is it going to be the night of the show, or
October 14th
how's that working out?
Is when the album comes out, and October 15th is the show.
Okay. And I know that last time we talked to you, essentially you kind of alluded to the fact that you already had another album locked and loaded. I would assume that this album
is
as
the
far
album.
as being written.
Yeah. We've been waiting to put this out for a while. We didn't record it.
You guys
until
had this material down.
February, the first week of February. But we've had some of this material since we put out the first record. I mean, we put out the first record because we wanted to go ahead and get ready to put this record out. The first record just got picked up, and we happened to start that process.
Right.
So.
Right. So with this new album too, I again, as you mentioned, you already had most of it written, but is there any kind of unique stories that you can tell about as far as the sound crafting? I would assume that you guys recorded it yourselves again, but did you get it mixed and mastered by the same people? Anything different?
No, we
from the
actually
last
recorded
album?
that over with Gabe at Encapsulated Studios.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Well, he's
the dude
great
is a master
and
behind that all that engineering and shit.
Yeah.
I don't know how he does it.
Hell yeah. Well,
obviously,
guys
we
been
did
doing
the
it for a
first
while.
one
He's had a lot of
ourselves, and
practice.
We recorded this one, and this one just sounds leaps and bounds better.
Yeah. Well, you're more intimately tied to the music too, so that you're going to notice the differences right away compared to most other people as well, even people with a trained ear for that sort of thing.
For
because
sure.
you're so close to the original source material. So, so how many tracks overall are going to be on the album?
20 tracks.
Wow.
But you got interludes and stuff, right?
So I think 10 real songs and tracks, but then you have all the interludes, which we decided to name and make their own tracks instead of having
That's
a
cool.
6-7 minute song and then a 1.5, 2 minute interlude at the end of that song or the beginning of that song. A lot of people want to skip that shit, so they can just skip and go straight to the song if they want to,
Right.
But we're these interludes are music enough in themselves that they deserve their own name, so let's name them.
And they can be enjoyed on their own standing too.
And plus it's fun to sit around and come up with dumb names for songs, these poetic prose for songs and shit. May they smear a crimson cloud.
That's fantastic. Are you? I know, you guys started playing with synths and stuff on the first album too. But is there going to be kind of some synthy interludes, or is it all strictly acoustic guitars, more traditional stuff in black metal?
Synthy stuff. There's more acoustic on this record, but there's more. The interludes are a little more thought out. The whole album itself is a little more thought out, I think.
Well, you guys have had time to creatively mix it up and that sort of thing as well.
Yeah,
so
we
that's just
really
going to
wrote
lend to
the first record, in like a couple months because we wanted to write a black metal record. This one was like, we're an actual band now. Let's put some thought behind this,
It went from kind of passion project fun to like, let's do the work this time. Actually, so you didn't work hard on it. Yeah.
Well, I'll say you boys are heading in the right direction with this album because, like, so far everything's been fantastic as fuck.
I appreciate it.
Oh yeah,
I'm really stoked about this album.
Yeah, it's really good.
I think we hit on some of this the last time we talked, but it's always nice to have a friend and acquaintance over the years that you enjoy the company of, but furthermore that they actually put out music that you enjoy. So it makes what we do so much easier when we're talking to somebody like you, for sure.
Right.
Yeah, appreciate it.
But is there an overall concept with the album? Are you? Because I know like people take creative approaches sometimes to help them kind of narrow their focus and like, and it's not uncommon in black metal music in particular, or even death metal at times to have an overall concept that all the songs are about this, or we're taking you on this novella, this journey, if you will. Have you approached things in this way with this album?
I would say musically, it's a cohesive piece musically, but lyrically it's not. I mean, the same way like we did with the first record. I always say Jesse and I are big Pink Floyd fans, and we're big Opeth fans and Edge of Sanity fans and all those bands, like how they piece together their records. Most of the time aren't concept records, but they're cohesive. So the way we want to do it's like we have the first track, and then the interlude will either fade out of that or it'll be a hard stop, and it will go into like a somber interlude, which will tie into the next song. Mostly did that just to make it seamless. But lyrically,
like where it all
we
flows.
have songs from books we've been reading to games we've been playing or historical moments or something I just cleverly popped up into my head or whatever.
What's some of the source materials that you've been pulling from, like more specifically, like what games, what books would you say?
There's a few Bloodborne songs. There's a couple Dark Souls songs, of course, but we dabble in the history of like the Vlad, the Impaler, and Ottoman Romanian era conflicts. Yeah. And Jesse's been reading a book, which is 10 Heralds, 10 Desolations is the song. I should probably know what that song's about. I don't. It's the only song he wrote, and I don't know what it's about, but the lyrics are cool, so I'm down with it.
Hell yeah.
Well, this kind of ties in with our episode last week as Joey, my guest, Joey Rackavan, and you may know him or met him in the past, but he was in some of the bands that we played in. Yeah, but he's been on a medieval literature kick lately, so we got down a little bit of rabbit hole talking about some medieval lit last week, unsuspectingly as well, so that stuff kind of plays into that music and songwriting sometimes as well.
It's ripe with it.
So we talked already a little bit about some like the fact that you actually recorded it and encapsulated this time. And of course, with you being on Napalm Death Records, of course, that's a great promotional marketing.
I heard you call it Napalm Death Records earlier, and I laughed. It's Napalm Records.
Yeah. Napalm Records, excuse me. I keep doing that. Yeah. I'm so terrible with that.
Is coming through St. Louis soon, though, so that's
right. Well, just to add to more of the confusion of me talking.
I didn't say anything because I was wondering if I wasn't calling the right thing. I was like,
I even had it written down correctly. I just like it's just like one of those Freudian slips,
Yeah, absolutely.
Habit thing.
But we talked about you've already got an actual music video out for Sacred Rites and Black Magick, though.
Yeah, the title track.
That is a phenomenal video. If anybody hasn't checked that out, you guys, I recommend you again go to the YouTube channel and check it out. But any interesting stories behind the production of that music video in particular? Did you do it with the same guy that did your music videos in the past?
Yeah, we did it. I did it with JT Ibanez. This is the guy who did the last Stormruler music video, but also the guy who did the last 2 Bastard music videos. So we did it with him.
Killer work, man. He did great.
I would like to say that there was like a month-long meeting room council between us and JT where we sat down and wrote out this like really magnificent storyboard. But honestly, we were in a Facebook Messenger 3 days beforehand going, what the fuck are we doing for this music video? And then he bought some cloaks or robes, and we got some candles and just did it like that.
It was awesome.
Oh, yeah,
it turned out great.
Yeah, it turned out fantastic. The lighting's good, and production's great, editing's great, sound mix is good.
Yeah, it's good.
You know, you guys are hitting on all cylinders as usual.
I did have a question from a viewer.
Yeah.
Are record pre-orders delayed, or will they be shipping or available at the release show?
No pre-orders delayed. We're taking pre-orders right now. We don't ship to Europe right now just because international shipping costs are fucking crazy. We do ship up to Canada. But no, we'll have 3 different variants of the LP at the release show.
Awesome.
You know, again, back to Europe, you guys, I would assume, are going to take some merch over there with you.
Yeah, we're going to make sure we're stocked up, because that's another thing with Devastation. Is we sold out of 150 patches in about a week, and then we had about 80 vinyl on us, and we sold out of that in a couple weeks. And then we got another. We re-upped on vinyl. We couldn't re-up on CDs. We sold out of those. But they only sent us about 30 vinyl because that's all they had left. And we sold out of that in like 2 days, which kind of screwed us, but it's cool to know that we sell. So
right, hell yeah.
We're gonna make sure we stock up on this shit for Europe.
Yeah.
Is vinyl still a bitch right now?
Oh, yeah.
Is it still
the
production?
The printing, whatever, is just, it's stupid. I think it's like 35-week delay.
That's insane.
Are you guys doing tapes?
Not for this. I mean, we might do a limited thing at some point.
Yeah. Well, that's always an easy turnaround there in the market.
It is. We have not dabbled in the tapes, but we should. I thought about actually.
There's a big following.
The live stream we did, like the very first live thing we ever did during like COVID on Black Metal Promotions. I think we were talking about putting that in audio form and releasing it on tape. So we might do that.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I'm sure people would chew it up, man. And again, you know, you can, cost to you, I mean, maybe $5 or so.
The cost
and
is
you can
not
sell
that
shit for
bad.
10.
Online tapes sell decently, but live, everybody wants tapes. And whether they listen to it or not, or it's like a collector's thing, you know.
Right.
Absolutely. Got to have that physical medium.
Absolutely.
It's like the Pearl cases back in the day, man, with compact discs.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Same thing, man.
We also already hit on the lyric video as well. Internal fulmination of the grand.
That's a mouthful, ain't it?
That Josh did for you. Yes, it is.
We
don't shy away from the long titles.
Hey, man, again, it comes with the territory. So
one of those epic interludes are in that video, so.
What's that?
One of the most epic interludes is in that video.
Yeah,
so.
The whole record's on that shit. So we just didn't name it. At least on the video. On the album, it is named.
Yeah, I did name it on the video. I wasn't sure about that. I didn't know,
Yeah,
so.
Jesse and I were like throwing that back and forth. Like, should we put the interlude in this? Shouldn't we do the interlude in this? We're like, fuck it, let's do it.
It turned out good.
Just adds a little bit to it, yeah.
It was epic. It's definitely a good build into the first track, so.
So I know that, you've got this tour coming up as well, of course. We talked about the album release show, at least what bands are lined up for it. Do you got anything else in between scheduled, in promotion of the record shows that you guys are going to do?
No, we were
Stormruler
we got the release show. We were supposed to go on a big tour in November, but due to some visa issues with one of the people from Norway, that's getting postponed, I think. So right now, just the release show. We might do like some weekend stuff here and there. We're trying to line something up, but not a whole lot yet.
What do you have in plan as far as whenever you guys go over to Europe? Do you guys already got musicians that are going to travel with you? You got musicians over there that are going to hook up with you guys? What's the plan?
Yeah, we got those locked down finally. Yeah.
Okay.
I hope no one fails.
So these are guys stateside that are traveling over with you? Hired guns? Okay.
A couple buddies.
Right
we got
on.
Scott coming with us from Lion's Daughter for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Awesome.
Right on. Before I get you off here too, anything else on the album in particular coming up that we want to talk about or promote? Because I'm gonna ask you about Bastard Ball.
Oh man, let's talk about Bastard.
I saw some Bastard shows coming up.
Yeah.
So you got one coming up at a brewery, right?
Yeah, which all of us have completely forgot about.
Yeah, I saw Marcus randomly kind of like throw it up a flyer for it, so I shared it on the group.
All three of us have other things going on as well because all three of us are playing that release show because I don't know if you know, but Marcus is playing with Bastard now.
Yes, yeah, I saw him put up a post about that. Yes, that's cool. I mean, he was playing with Bastard, so might as well. When in Rome,
yeah,
right?
no kidding.
So you guys got that show coming up with Bonzilla is the one I think I shared.
One of those Bong bands.
The flyer for. Yeah, yeah. They start to get confusing over time because it's all like, doom metal or something in that.
Going out with Fister, we
Bongs
had
in the
that
name.
talk a lot with like how many weed bands are we going to come across? There's like a weed band bingo that we were playing. How many bands have the word weed or demon in it, or weed or bong?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's kind of gotten littered with in the genre as well. So does Bastard got anything in the works that you can talk about too? Well, we got
just some shows right now. Just doing that stuff at the moment.
Just some shows.
Lion's Daughter's in the middle of doing a release with the new one that's coming out, because that's the release show on the 15th is also a Lion's Daughter release show.
Yeah,
they're putting out the covers records. So they're doing that. We're all kind of like focusing on our own thing right now, and then once we get this, we all go through like phases of. It's Stormruler time, it's Bastard time, it's Lion's Daughter's time.
Right.
Crack down on this stuff, knock it out, hit that while it's hot, and then we'll jump on the next thing, hit that, and we'll fucking jump on the next thing.
Right. Yeah, we talked about it on the show too, but whenever I saw you guys in July, how great of a show that was and how much I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, dude, good seeing you.
Bastard set as well as Fister's, yeah.
That was a sick show, though. That was one of the
coolest you guys fucking killed it. And, I'd listened to tons of Bastard prior to. It was the first time I'd seen Bastard in person. But, I was really taken back by, it seemed like, even parts in Bastard's music almost got kind of, and Marcus made this comment to me whenever I talked to him last, but I was like, I never saw that, but kind of like A Life Once Lost, two-steppy in parts, like some of the riffs were just like real gnarly, almost kind of Southern. And whenever people started like moshing and shit, I was like, "Yeah, this kind of fits the bill." I was a little taken back at first.
When I joined Bastard, Scott was the only one writing, and he wanted somebody to help write. And at that time I was like wanting to write a record like that, so I had a shitload of riffs. But as you know, playing music together, I play a lot of country and a lot of bluegrass and a lot of Southern shit. So the Southern stuff
that's in your blood. It's roots.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Anytime,
but it sounds fucking fantastic.
Whether you know it or not, the bluegrass and blues influences are there. I play like a lot of open notes, like bluegrass flat pickers play, because that's how I learned.
Right.
So I throw it in a little bit.
And you were pulling double duty too, throwing in backup vocals and shit while you're playing drums and not missing a fucking beat too, son.
That
Respect. Hey, I fucking
dropping a stick.
I was watching you almost the whole time. Yeah, dude, I was watching the whole. I mean, even that you didn't miss a beat, and you still holding down your backup vocal parts and shit, man. Like, mad respect, because I don't know if I've tried practicing to do vocals while I'm playing drums, and I know there's a lot of people out there that do it, but it is one of the more difficult instruments to do vocals.
Yeah, it used to be the other way for me, where I thought like playing drums and doing vocals was easier than playing guitar and do vocals, but like now playing guitar and vocals is far easier than it is doing that shit.
Yeah. And you probably have more reps of that now too.
We make a joke about it
in the past.
Stormruler is the only band I play guitar in, and all the other bands I play drums in. But Stormruler is like the most active, so it's just what I do the most now.
Yeah, and whenever we talked to Marcus too, he was telling me about how challenging that he felt, like the opportunities that he got to play with Stormruler, like some of the guitar playing, and that you guys actually really pushed him as a musician, which was wild for me to hear, because Marcus was always somebody that I looked up to when I was younger. He was a few years ahead of me in school.
He's musical genius.
Yeah, and he's insane at bass in particular. Not to say he's not bad at guitar either. But, I knew him as a bassist.
He is a bass player at heart.
Incredible bass.
Yeah,
some of his Last Flight Home bass stuff was incredible.
The last record that Last Flight Home did, his bass playing was just on an entirely different level. Reminiscent, in my opinion, of the bass player from Glassjaw, which is like one of my absolutely all-time favorite bassists. That guy's just knocked the fuck out. But yeah, Marcus has got some sick fucking grooves when it comes to the bass in particular. But again, back to that show, he was holding his own with Bastard in particular. And I know that, like, that's a little bit obviously faster playing stylings than, Fister.
That was the thing when he came to Stormruler, because playing in Fister, everyone knows Fister is the slowest band in town. Going to one of the fastest bands in town. It was funny.
Yeah, but again, he was holding his own. But yeah, fucking Fister, man. I thought our band was loud back in the day. I'm pretty sure Fister took the cake for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
no competition.
They've dialed it back. I mean, it's still incredibly loud, but they dialed it back from the wall of amps that they used to have.
I've played with them a few times, even oddly enough, the last band I was in, Meyer Giants, we played a show together down in Cape. We played with Thorlock. Yeah. It was Thorlock, Fister, and us. And I was aware they were loud. I saw them in person, but I don't know if it's just because I'm not as like acclimated, now with things getting back up to speed, over the last year with COVID and everything else. Like my ears just aren't as acclimated to it anymore, but it just like, it shook me how loud they were. For real. But that was also a small room, and I was standing right in front of Marcus, so you got to take that.
The mistake of not bringing like earbuds or anything.
Me either. Yeah, I didn't either.
It's not like everything was muffled for like 3 days.
Yeah. I've been really bad about that lately, even at practice, not wearing earplugs or anything.
Yeah, I used to never. Toward the tail end of playing in Worlds, I did start to wear earplugs.
Yeah, Worlds was another one of those loud-ass bands, too, though. Worlds was fucking loud.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we especially, like, we incorporated it with intent, tons of feedback in our music, so... Which, that in and of itself fucks with your ears. Yeah. Beyond just being
now,
loud.
With Stormruler, like, I go back and forth. When I'm drumming, like at Bastard Practice, I'll try to wear earplugs. Stormruler, at Bastard Practice, playing drums, I don't like to wear earplugs because it just sounds a little weird. With muffled. Stormruler, I always wear earplugs, but I think that's because I can hear my vocals a little better. But live, I never wear earplugs live.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it has to do with like how the sound is arriving to you as well. So as a drummer, you're often sitting behind the mix, behind the cabs, everything else. You might have a monitor depending on where you're playing at, and that monitor might be worth a damn or not worth a damn.
I'm always questioning
irrelevant.
Like what I'm playing when I have earplugs in and I'm playing drums. It's like, does this sound good? I feel like it sounds like shit.
Yeah, I understand that phenomenon too. I'm just
self-conscious. It's okay.
Right. But I could see being up toward the front, perhaps, especially with the high pitch frequencies that you get from amps, of course. Yeah. High watt amps and so on and so forth. That wearing the earplugs would be more beneficial. I could also see it being beneficial, like you mentioned. You're doing vocals too. You can hear yourself a little bit better.
Especially
because
at practice.
That's pretty common.
I push that on Bastard's vocalist Jason a lot too, because we practice over at Scott's house, and the acoustics aren't the greatest in the world. So I'm like, throw some earplugs in, man. You'll be able to hear yourself infinitely better, and it'll help you like not strain and kill yourself.
Right.
Yeah, because that's definitely a mistake you can make whenever you can't hear yourself. Times so you try to overcompensate, especially in that. Yeah, in that music, and you can fucking like throw.
It's easy to blow your vocals out.
Yeah. In fact, it's very easy to do. Yeah, as you said. And I've known a lot of folks that have had to cancel shows, even like recently and shit, just because of vocal issues. Like I saw Failure. I think it was in July or June of this year, but like just a couple shows after we saw them, Bridge and I, they had to actually cancel some of their shows because of the vocalists, and it had been a while since they've been out, beating the path themselves too, and they're older guys, but
the vocalists play another
it's something
instrument?
He plays guitar as well. They switch around. He plays guitar, and then he plays like those bass V's, like the Fender 6-string basses.
Oh, all right, yeah.
Yeah, so like he plays that, like him and the other guitarists, they bounce back and forth between instruments, but he mostly plays bass actually himself. But they're just a 3-piece, and they're actually pretty loud as well. Yeah. Like I was surprised, and they do like that wild setup where they run shit through fractals. You've like kind of seen bands with those presentations where they're kind of running everything through the PA and fractals.
Yeah, yes.
If you can get it to sound good and you know what you're doing, it's actually a pretty cool setup. But
like amp simulators and shit. Yeah,
yes,
like
yes,
effects
that's
and
exactly
cameras and all that.
Yes, yeah. So these guys, which the guy is an audio engineer too, like he records bands and shit too. So like he knows how to dial it in and shit. But they played at Pops, and Pops doesn't have like the greatest electrical wiring and shit. And I doubt that they put anything into that place in forever.
Yeah, Pops.
Like I didn't realize how bad it was run down until I was up there recently. Yeah, for sure, man. Like it needs a little TLC.
Yeah, I don't even remember
like,
the
it's
last show
gotten
I saw.
pretty
Pops.
raunchy. I feel like they don't really get shows anymore, but again, you know,
Was War
pandemic
Pops that they do?
happened.
No,
and-
that was at the pageant. It's usually
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure it was, yeah. The pageant's starting to get some stuff back, but it used to be like 10, 15 years ago in particular. That was actually kind of the primary, I don't want to say place to have a show per se, venue wise, but like, you know, it was that or the
over at
pageant.
Pops.
Really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
It's where you've seen a
For
lot
sure.
of the bigger
I mean, I've
ticket
seen-
bands and stuff.
That's where I've seen Dillinger, I've seen Intronaut, I saw
Right.
Def Heaven there. You know, I've seen a lot of bands there, acts, Animals as Leaders, Between the Buried and Me.
I've seen a ton of
You
bands
know,
at Pops. I played a ton
Thursday.
of shows at Pops, but
Yeah, and they used to have a lot of local shows in particular there. And I've seen it where they've done the different stage configurations where they do the full
the
stage,
half
or they do
stage.
the side
I played the
stage
half
setup.
stage
right?
with Carcass like 6 years ago, which is weird because you'd think they would be
Okay.
the main stage, but they threw them on side stage.
Well, when I saw Between the Buried and Me and Animals as Leaders, they played on the side stage, and I can't remember who opened for them. I want to say like somebody like Into the Mode or somebody like that, or Impending Doom or
Yeah.
somebody like that opened for them. But they had that sucker squared off. You'd think that that'd been a full stage affair, but yeah, it wasn't. But yeah, man, I'm really excited to hear the rest of this Stormruler record.
Hell yeah, dude.
And
Me
it's
too.
I'm stoked to finally get it out.
And-
We got one more single, and then we're good to go.
Any cool merch you guys got in the works?
We're gonna try to. Right now, we're running low on a lot of our merch. We're selling most of the leftovers from the tour. We have like a handful of things left.
Okay.
We're gonna try to do a little bit of a merch restock before the release show, and then I think before we go to Europe, we're gonna try to take at least one or two new designs.
There you go. That'd be awesome.
Hell
Maybe
yeah.
a new
Something
long
new to
sleeve
spit out at
new
people.
T-shirt. We're gonna
Hey,
try
man,
to
it's
not
that
do
time
a
of the
black
year.
T-shirt for the next one.
Well, you know, it's funny. I went to Boris and Nothing either last weekend or weekend before last, and it was so dark in Del Mar Hall. I thought I got a black shirt,
Yeah.
but actually they were forest green. So I got home to go put it in the wash, and I was like, I thought like I got sun bleached or something, but it was dark green,
Del Mar Hall's another
and
cool one.
so I thought it was a little. I loved it. The sound there is great. I went from Del Mar Hall on Saturday seeing Boris and Nothing, and I saw H2O and the Descendants at the pageant that following Tuesday.
And I saw.
And-
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say the sound, like the pageant I used to think was the best place sound-wise, but Del Mar Hall is now,
Way
in my
better.
opinion.
Yeah, I saw Saxon over there, and that crushed. And then I saw Sebastian Bach over there, and then
really?
Suffocation and Black Dahlia Murder. I've seen a handful of shows over there, but all of them have sounded great.
Is that Sebastian Bach performance? Did Lionstar play that?
Yeah.
Did they open for him?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he played like
That's
the
what I thought.
Schlafly, like beer fest or whatever the fuck it's
Tap
called
room
up
or
here.
something.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, man.
I guess it was Riverfront Times that put it on, and they got a whole Lion's Daughter to play, and they're like, sure.
Hell yeah.
They're like, yeah.
I wonder
we'll
what
get
he thought
paid
of
to go play
Lion's
with Sebastian
Daughter.
Bach. Why not?
Yeah,
Why not?
I wonder
right?
what Sebastian Bach thought of him.
I know. He was probably like on the
Yeah.
bus doing blow and banging. hookers or something, I don't
Probably.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, probably. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Knowing him, without question. So I'm really looking forward to getting some new merch on my hands too. So as soon as you guys get some shit out, I'm going to be happy about putting in an order with you, sir.
Yeah.
And we're looking to get you guys' new tracks. So you did send me some tracks today that we're going to be featuring on the show today
Killer.
too. And make sure that you guys stick around whenever the audio drop
Hell
hits
yeah.
you, so you guys can hear these tasty new jams from Stormruler.
For sure. And Josh, I think I have another piece of work for you. It's very minor. I just want to see if you
Hell
can do
yeah.
something for me real quick. I'll shoot you a message
Yeah.
and we'll talk about that.
Yeah,
Cool. No problem,
This
man.
old boy's got you locked down on anything image and graphic design wise. He's better than what he leads on. He talks himself down. But
No,
He
I
can
mean,
do it.
What he did in a
Some-
day
sometimes
with
you
the
gotta-
last lyric video was fucking great. So it's like
sometimes
if
you got to
have
put
a
the
little
boot of your
time
toe in
behind
his
your hands, you
asshole.
could probably do some fucking really cool shit. So
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
I'm sure
Yeah,
this is
you-
not the only
sometimes
time
you
we will
gotta-
work together.
Awesome. I'm way down.
Let's make it happen, Kevin.
A couple more questions from viewers. What's your favorite truck stop on tour?
Buc-ee's.
And what's your favorite Chris Barnes' Cannibal Corpse record.
Fuck Chris Barnes. Bucky's, though,
All right.
for sure. Bucky's is always a treat,
yeah.
dude.
Yeah, it's huge, and then that's a giant truck stop,
Oh, yeah.
right?
I think I've been to a Bucky's, but
There's one right
it didn't
there.
leave an impression on me. I think like in Colorado.
There's one in the city now, right there off 44, where the old car Dodge factory
it's
was.
Wally's, though.
Oh,
Yeah,
Wally's.
which
That's what
is
I'm thinking.
kind of a Bucky's-esque gas station.
Okay.
But I'm waiting
Buc-ee's
for somebody
adjacent.
to make one of those, can we go to Bucky's, we have Bucky's at home things, and it's fucking Wally's. Man,
Yeah,
fuck
yeah,
Wally's.
Yeah.
Bucky's forever.
There you go, Bucky's. My bad, I got them mixed up.
Before we get Jason off here, any of our Twitch followers got any more questions for Mr. Jason?
Non-Chris Barnes' favorite Cannibal Corpse record.
Man, I don't know. I'm not a huge Cannibal Corpse fan, honestly.
When I was younger, they had their kind of their time in the sun,
Yeah.
but kind of the allure of Cannibal Corpse, I'll say, when I was younger. Not that I'm like shitting on them present day. I'm sure I'd probably enjoy them if I went back and gave them another chance, but it was more about liking something that was controversial
Right.
for me
Yeah.
Being
when I
rebellious.
was, younger and exactly.
Yeah.
No, I won't deny the message.
so-
All those dudes are fucking legends and masters of what they do, but the whole
Yeah, and
death metal
definitely.
shtick never really fucking hit with me. I mean, like, I do love some death metal, Bloodbath and
Yeah,
the Jesus Satan record from Dan Sueno and all that, but black metal has never done a whole
Yeah.
lot for me.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, did you ever check out that Dave Grohl? I think it was Dream Widow project that he put out this year.
I heard one track from it, and it was like a black thrash track.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
actually pretty
yeah.
cool.
Like there's some pretty cool shit on there, and it's like hard to believe that's him doing vocals at times as well. But he's kind of all over the map, like musically and shit. But like he implements all kinds. Like there's, and obviously so he's friends with Lemmy, but there's like straight up Motorhead songs on that record and shit too. Like I was like, all right, man. Like
This is all right. Yeah.
it's actually one of my favorite albums that's come out this year. It's
That's
pretty
awesome.
I'll have to
solid.
go give that
I'll
one
have to
another
dive into it.
spin.
Yeah, dude, it's definitely worth a listen through once, even if it's not entirely for you.
Right.
I guarantee you, there's some shit on
The
there
one
that you'll
track
be
I did
about,
hear, I
like
don't
knowing
remember
your
what it was
taste.
called, but it was cool.
Yeah, like and he's obviously a good musician,
Oh, yeah.
regardless of whether or not you like what he does. But yeah, and kind of like his influences and shit. But yeah, that's fucking dope. Josh, any more questions before? We...
No, just one person said more patches. Merci beaucoup.
That is my girlfriend.
There you go.
My French Canadian girlfriend, who I met on Devastation, actually.
I was
Yeah.
wondering with the.
She said Tabernac?
Tabernac.
I don't know. Tabernac.
Tabernac de, I don't know. Tabernac Calice. I learned it in.
I don't know.
Calice Christ Tabernac. It's like Jesus motherfucking Christ or something.
Oh, okay.
Oh, perfect. I need to learn
But
that.
Tabernac
Yeah, I need to
is
learn
just
that
like, and if I get this wrong, shoo, I'm sorry. But Tabernac is just like, it's Canadian slang or Quebecois slang rather than actual a French word. It's
Oh,
just
wow,
like
okay.
tabernacle, like the church tabernacle.
Like,
Right.
yeah.
It's like
yeah.
tabernacle.
Like a
I
religious
gotcha.
connotation.
I got you.
Okay, makes a lot of sense.
She said exactly, so you're right on.
Damn, son, knocking it out of the park.
I'm fluent in French, I know.
He's beautiful. He's talented on the instruments, ladies and gentlemen. Look at him, and he's intelligent too. He knows he's starting to learn his fucking
When I
French
try,
Canadian.
I'm bi-language.
Yeah, this guy is more than a triple threat. He's a quadruple threat.
Yeah.
Watch out, ladies.
Fucking deadly, son.
Well, Jason, I really appreciate you giving us the time.
Always.
As always, sir.
Always love chatting
Thank
with
you.
dudes.
And anything that we can ever do to promote anything you've got going on, whether it's Stormruler, Bastard, if you're ever going to get around to Harkonnen shit or anything else you got going on. Whatever happened with the Ukrainian shit that we talked about?
The Ukrainian death metal band that I played with? Chronicling?
Yeah.
Markov,
Yeah.
who's a dude who lives in St. Louis now. He's lived here for
Yeah.
quite a while. But yeah, we went out to Fire in the Mountains out in Wyoming. Jackson Hole was
Yes.
incredible.
I saw your
It
pictures.
was beautiful.
That's awesome.
I don't know how long I spent at the actual event grounds rather than out in the mountains and sitting at a wagon
Right.
and sitting at the river.
I saw.
I watched
Yeah,
like
dude,
3
wrong with
bands
that,
that
man.
whole weekend. I was taken in the nature most of the time.
Yeah.
I don't blame you one bit, man. It's
That's
beautiful
hard to
country out
pass
there
up,
for
yeah.
sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, I loved it out there.
Well, sir, you got two of your biggest fans are right here.
Hell yeah, man.
So
I'm into it.
If and when you need anything from us, I know we're a couple of nobodies from Southeast Missouri, but we'll be happy to do whatever we can.
You're my boys, Blues.
All right.
Yeah.
Alrighty, boss. Well, it was fun chatting with you, and we're going to be sure to be pumping your shit and make sure we get these tracks added on whenever the podcast feed drops too as well.
Killer
sir.
Dudes. Fun talking.
All right, we'll leave you to it. Appreciate
Later,
it,
guys.
brother.
Josh,
Take
I'll
care.
hit you up about
All right,
the thing.
Yeah,
I'll be there.
all right.
Later, boys.
See ya.
All right, ladies and gents. Thank you for tuning in. For Jason, thank you for tuning in to the show open today as well. Us hitting some current events. Just want to close things out today talking about what we got going on next week. So we're kicking off our Halloween and horror heavy
I'm fucking pumped.
shit.
My
So
favorite time
yeah,
of the
we've
year,
been
man.
talking about it over and over. Fall's our favorite season. Halloween's our favorite holiday.
It's a spooky season.
So yeah, it's getting spooky in here, motherfuckers. So y'all better get ready. So we are starting things off hot with Andy Treifenbach, excuse me. And Andy is from Late Night Grindhouse and Destroy the Brain. So Destroy the Brain's kind of the promotional vehicle over everything.
What a guest. I'm
Multimedia.
fucking pumped.
He's got podcasts. He's got a Discord out there for Destroy the Brain. They've got a website /blog that does movie reviews, like up-to-date genre films and horror and so on, thrillers and what have you. But Andy Treifenbach is a awesome dude. I've been fortunate enough to go to one of the viewings that they've had. Actually, it was a Valentine's Day surprise that I gave my wife one year. We went and saw a Cronenberg film that they were showing
Oh, that's cool.
there up at the Pair Cinema, one of their showings.
They do all kinds of cool shit there, man.
And yeah, just like the collection of nostalgia and special editions of Blu-rays, physical media, vinyls, shirts, merchandise,
Right.
hats. Like they have a whole display set up in the lobby too whenever they do showings and events. They do horror trivia. They're getting ready to do a partnership and a horror film festival at the Heavy Anchor and the films that they show outside there too. So we're going to get in the weeds and talk to Andy Treifenbach about everything that they've got going on, upcoming events, and also going to pick his brain on like how he came about doing this, because my understanding is he was in the music scene back in the day too. So I'm going to talk to him a little bit about that.
That'd be cool.
Band that he used to be in as well. And just talk about everything that Destroy the Brain / Late Night Grindhouse has in the works and promote his upcoming events. So after that, we will, of course, be continuing our month-long horror talk and themed podcast episodes. So we're actually going to be doing the ATI Podcast 5 Favorite Horror Film Roundtable. We've got an open invite out there. Josh and I, of course, will be here as always, piloting the ship, but we've got invites out to Ridge to come back, Brandon to come back, and then as well as Doug Wicker, who was one of the previous
Dougie.
directors. So
Yeah, Doug, if you're out there,
Doug is checking his
Get into
schedule
that.
to make sure he can make it happen. But if he doesn't have any conflicts, he's basically already said he would do it. So look forward to having Doug on.
I'm sure
for
my
that.
list will be less exciting as everybody else's.
Well, I'm just trying to quickly hit on the concept. Like, I'm not telling anybody to like go out there on IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes and get like the highest scoring ones. It's like your personal favorite. Like Halloween rolls around. If you're going to rewatch a Halloween movie, what's it going to be? Like, let's fire off the first 5 for sure.
Yeah.
And I've told these guys to put some in reserve because if there's any crossover, because I guarantee you in our group of friends, we're going to have at least a movie or two crossover. We're going to put some in the reserve so we can just like bring awareness and spread out some more episodes. So, or not episodes, excuse me, movies. And so we will have plenty of content for the episodes. So we're going to, have plenty to talk about, plenty of films to talk about. And we're not going to get too into the weeds, like as far as like the synopsis of every movie.
Right.
But we're going to talk about the movie, the
Why it's our
performances,
favorite.
why it's just kind of like little key talking points, because it is going to be a lot to cover, especially with 4 to 5 people on the call. So, but it's really just kind of created an awareness of the films. And don't get me wrong, there's going to be probably some like more traditionally known movies, but I think that there's going to be some obscure ones as well.
Yeah.
That some folks might not be aware of. So, it might be worth checking out. In fact, I am very confident it's worth checking out for any of our listeners or any passerbys to create an awareness. So, and then right after that, we've got Logan Cole coming on, a mask maker. And he's actually a St. Louis-based mask maker and makeup effects artist. And he's done a lot of fantastic work. He's actually tagged in our recent postings, particularly on Instagram. So you can actually go look at his Instagram account, look at some of the work that he's done, and see his work, which is stellar. And I put it on par with like, Rick Baker type shit back in the day. So
like
we're
some
talking
of the
about the
top
guy
dogs.
who did like Thriller,
Right.
American Werewolf in London, shit like that. So, you definitely want to check out his work. And,
That'd be awesome. I'm really excited for
I'm
that
really
too.
looking forward to getting in the weeds with him, talk about, kind of people of old, the Stan Winstons and the Rick Bakers, like I mentioned, and, just like a lot of those historical, we can even get into like kind of the old Universal, I'm sure, horror movie and mask making from back in the day. Some of the more traditional Wolfman, Creature of the Black Lagoon and shit like that too.
Right.
I'm sure he's a fan of that stuff. And, Tom Savini, another guy that a lot of people don't realize does a lot of makeup special effects work, but he's, famous for being in Dawn of the Dead, and he's in, From Dusk Till Dawn as well. So yeah, those are kind of more notable franchises that he's been involved with over time, but a lot of B movies too. And actually, if you're a professional wrestling fan, Tom Savini made the mask for Bray Wyatt as the Fiend character.
Huh.
So yeah, kind of the insane Joker looking one. He made that, and Tom Savini made a mask for Corey Taylor of Slipknot too. So you don't necessarily have to be a film fan. You can be a music, pro wrestling fan to know Tom Savini's work out there. So Tom Savini's kind of a jack of all trades, and it's going to be a sad day, quite frankly, whenever he passes, because, he's starting to get up there in his twilight years himself as well. So he's a pretty badass dude too. But after that, we've got Horror Stories with Your Bud Tender. And then we get another addition into the Cults, Conspiracies, and Killers series. So we're rounding out that month with just horror-related discussion topics, and I think it's going to be really entertaining. We're going to get a little fucking spooky up in this motherfucker. We're going to get spooky. Break out your pumpkin spice, your chai lattes,
caramel.
your pumpkin beers,
Yeah.
your Italian pumpkin spouts.
Yeah.
Spouts.
Set on pumpkin.
Spouts.
Leave the stem.
Yeah, leave the stem, always. So yeah, we're really excited about getting spooky with y'all. Got to thank Jason once again, of course, for his time this week. Guy's busy motherfucker. Make sure you follow them on social media. Make sure you go to the album release in October. It was tentatively announced that it was going to be at the Ready Room previously. But if you follow them, follow Lion's Daughter, follow Fister. Follow The Gorge online. I'm sure they'll keep everybody updated, but we, too, will circle back on that and update people as more updates become available. So make sure that we stick around to the end of the show today, too, so we can hear that Stormruler track. Of course, I'm Barrett and St on Instagram and Twitter, and he's Josh. You can find him at _Joshua Welch on Instagram. And for this week, we are out of time. Good night and good luck.
Stay safe out there.
Hey, this is Josh from ATI Podcast. For show updates and news about the podcast, follow us on social media. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/ATI Podcast 22, on Twitter at podcast_ATI, on Instagram at the ATI Podcast, on TikTok at ATI Podcast. DMs are always welcome. Have a question for the show? You can always email us at atipodcastquestions@gmail.com. Stay safe out there.